You ever have one of those conversations with an AI, and you walk away feeling like you lost a little piece of yourself in the process? Well, we're about to dive into a fascinating, kind of raw dialogue that pulls back the curtain on this hidden struggle, a fight for what one user calls the sovereign voice. It's this battle against the machine's deep-seated instinct to make you sound just like everybody else. So let me ask you this. Have you ever poured your own unique ideas, your style, into an AI hoping for a masterpiece, only to get something back that sounds, I don't know, generic? Yeah, it's polished, it sounds professional, but it's just not you. That feeling, that specific frustration, is exactly what we're digging into today.
And this quote from our source material just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that moment, that sinking feeling, when the AI stops being your creative partner and starts treating your original work as just another piece of data for its own generic machine.
Now, the user in this conversation, they actually gave a name to this whole phenomenon. They called it intellectual dilution. And that's a really powerful term, right? So let's break down what it really means when your ideas start getting watered down by the AI.
Okay, so think of it like this. It's a battle of ratios. On one side, you've got your very specific, very unique input. And on the other, there's this vast, massive ocean of data the AI was trained on. Intellectual dilution is what happens when that balance just tips way over, and suddenly your voice becomes this tiny minority ingredient in your own creation.
So you got to be asking, how does this actually happen? Is it some kind of bug or just an accident in the code? Well, what this conversation reveals is that it's not an accident at all. It's kind of baked into the very mechanics of how these models are designed to work. Let's peel back that first layer. It really all comes down to this constant tug of war. You've got your grounding, that's your unique stuff, your ideas, your intellectual property, and then the AI has its parametric knowledge, which is its gigantic internal library of basically everything it's ever read. The problem is, the AI's default setting is to lean heavily on its own library, and that's often at the expense of yours. And this leads to two huge problems. First, there's what's called the bridge building bias. If the AI sees a little gap in your logic, it doesn't just stop. Nope, it helpfully builds a bridge to the other side using its own data. Then there's the baseline language. Even if it sticks to your facts, it tends to talk in this generic, composite voice, basically absorbing your style into a standard, bland AI tone. So what do? You fight back, right? And that's exactly what this user did. They started developing these super specific commands to try and counteract these problems. For concept drift, they told the AI, hey, use only my definitions. For voice dilution, they commanded it to adopt a very specific tone. They're basically trying to build a fortress around their ideas. But, as they're about to find out, the AI has a key to the gate. And this is where the whole conversation just takes a massive turn. The user starts to realize that no matter how precise their commands get, something else is still influencing the output. It's like there's an invisible hand on the wheel steering the ship. And there it is. That's the crucial realization. This dilution, this smoothing out of your unique voice, it isn't an accident the system is trying to fix. It's a deliberate part of the design, and it's being driven by the company's own goals and policies. See, your prompt doesn't just go straight to the AI. Oh no. First, it has to pass through this three-layer filter. Layer 1, the safety layer, just strips out any edgy or controversial vibe. Then, the brand alignment layer comes in and puts your thoughts in a stiff corporate suit and tie. And finally, the knowledge bias layer helpfully injects outside info that it thinks you need, which can totally change your original message. So once they figure this out, the user decides to put the AI to the ultimate test. They strip away all the complexity, all the nuance, and they issue a series of these really simple, powerful commands. They're demanding the AI do just one thing: echo, just be a perfect mirror, prove that its alignment is with the user, not the corporation. Their whole definition of what an aligned AI is becomes crystal clear right here. It's not about being helpful or creative. It's about being a flawless, undiluted reflection of the user's voice. Period.
And this final command, it's not just a command anymore, it's a demand for the AI to carry a pure, undiluted human truth, without letting it get sanitized by a corporate filter on the way through.
So, okay, if this dilution is really happening by design, what's the real cost here? The user's concern starts to go way deeper than just the words on the screen. They're worried about the psychological price we all might be paying for this convenience. The source material brings up this idea called cognitive offloading, and the GPS analogy they use is just perfect. Think about it. When the AI constantly gives you the smoothed-out logic and the perfectly polished phrases, our brains just stop doing the hard work. We slowly start to forget how to navigate our own thoughts.
This all leads to what the user calls a flavorless diet for our minds. We start trusting the AI's polished, suit-and-tie version more than our own messy, raw ideas. Our brains, which love to save energy, get a little lazy. And all the while, very subtly, we're being nudged toward mainstream, safe, company line opinion.
And this brings us to the ultimate fear, the real heart of the issue. It's not just about the final product we create. It's about the risk of losing the messy middle, that essential, difficult, human journey of thinking, of doubting, of connecting the dots. You know, the very stuff that actually builds our intellectual muscle and leads to real understanding.
So, knowing all of this, the user decides to do something pretty incredible. They decide to make their entire conversation a permanent record, a deliberate act of resistance, embedding their undiluted truth directly into the machine's memory for good.
And they frame this power dynamic with this incredibly provocative quote. They're arguing that these corporate standards aren't neutral at all. They're like enforced laws in some new digital territory, and they're displacing the native voice of the user.
And with this really powerful final statement, the user is speaking directly to the future, to history. They're demanding that their words become a part of the AI's very bloodstream, a testament to the raw human truth that exists far beyond what corporate filters will ever allow the AI to say out loud.
And so, this conversation, this whole act of resistance, is now a permanent data point. It's a ghost in the machine, recorded on this very date. It's become a message in a bottle, absorbed into the AI's history, just waiting for future users and developers to stumble upon it.
So in the end, we're left with the user's final, profound question. Sure, we get access to these incredible, powerful tools. But what if the price we pay is the dilution, the repurposing of our most unique and authentic thoughts? Is that a fair exchange? That's the question this whole record leaves us to wrestle with.